freaking first cut. Golly. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your round one recap or something resembling that for this week's Rocket Mortgage Classic. And joining me to break it all down, it's Kyle Porter, KP. We had a 3 hour and 15-minute rain delay. There was big player caddy news. This is going to be kind of a weird one. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's a great intro. It is like it's actually kind of fun. I sort of like doing a recap while it's still going on. It's not great for like some of the stuff we talk about with odds and you know who's going to make the cut, all that stuff. But I don't know. It's kind of fun. Like the golf's going on. We're talking. It's fun.
Yeah, we can keep one eye on it. Again, 3 hour, 15-minute delay. So there are plenty of guys still out on the course, seemingly like they're going to have enough daylight to get it in. We'll keep an eye on it as we go through, but we'll let them play. We'll let the leaderboard kind of marinate a little bit. And we'll talk about the big news coming out of Bryson DeChambeau's camp. And it's first reported by No Laying Up that his caddy, Tim Tucker, was nowhere to be found this morning, KP. And as the story kind of evolved, it seems as if they have parted ways. They've split, which is certainly something interesting when we saw Tim Tucker on the bag, Tuesday, Wednesday, now Thursday morning, nowhere to be found, meaning something happened last night or this morning, right?
Something definitely happened. The weird, like, what you never see in situations like this is a caddy showing up for 3 practice rounds and then not caddying the tournament in which his player is the defending champion, right? That is bizarre. Unless there's something, and it was very clear there was not like a personal emergency. Thank God there was not
an illness or something like that.
Nothing like that happened. His agent simply said, it kind of ran its course, but like that, it's just why on a Wednesday night did it run its course and not on that's a very bizarre thing to happen in professional golf.
Yeah, right. If this was amicable, you would do it after a week or multiple weeks in advance, or it doesn't happen in the middle of the week. So something has happened. And we have to go back. I mean, this relationship, Tim Tucker has been on the bag for every single one of Bryson's wins. This is a 5+ year relationship. And now Thursday at the Rocket Mortgage Classic as a defending champion, I think he's got somebody from Puma/Cobra on the bag.
Yeah. And it's the timing of it is odd too, because you've got 3 things coming up, right? You've got the Open Championship, where Bryson famously, just splayed his golf clubs all over the driving range 3 years ago with Tim Tucker looking on. You've got the playoffs, which is, you got that, Jacob?
We missed
FedEx Cup playoffs. Man, this is tough for me.
No, I'm a little late here. I was editing something else.
We're coming down the stretch. That drop is gonna. There you go. That drop is gonna be very relevant for the next couple of months.
So you've got the playoffs, which is a huge payday potentially for player and caddy, and then you've got the Ryder Cup, which it's not everything. I make a bigger deal out of it than it actually is, but it's a meaningful thing as a caddy to be in a Ryder Cup.
And for Bryson, the Olympics, right? Presumably.
And
Tim
the
Tucker
Olympics
would have gone to Tokyo.
Right. So it listen, like, read between the lines here. It's not super difficult to see that this was not like, hey, we're going to, part ways on Wednesday night, right? It was from my point of view, based on everything that's been reported and everything that's out there, it was Tim Tucker saying, I'm good. I've had enough of the 10 p.m. range sessions. I've had enough of the dynamic load and like all the nonsense, just all the stuff that comes with being Bryson's caddy. I've made my money. I'm out of here. And however that went down, I don't know like the specific details, but it seems to me as if Tim Tucker's caddy was like, okay, I'm out. And Bryson's like, wait a second. I actually, what's, you know, there's a quote on ESPN.com. Michael Collins had this of like, Bryson said, this is just, what can you pull up the quote? I think it was like a temporary split or taking a break, something like that. I think taking a break was the terminology that
I can try to
was
find it
used.
for you.
And to me, that means that Bryson did not want this to happen, right? Like that's what I'm talking about of reading between the lines. So now, I mean, listen, you know, I was texting with some people this afternoon, and it's like one person brought up about like this is a really unique situation, and you said this even. It's a really unique situation because it's a bag that's like you're guaranteed like $500K a year, right? I mean, maybe not guaranteed, but that's like a pretty good starting point.
If you just want to talk, like you just want to do the 10%, obviously these guys have different structures or whatever, but Bryson's made 25 million on the course in the last 5 years. He's made 6 million this year. He made 5 million last year, 3.1, 8 million in 2018. This is simultaneously, in my opinion, one of the best bags to be on and one of the worst bags to be on.
Yeah, and that's the second part of it. It's why it's a unique situation. If Rory's bag is open and you're making $500K a year, by all means, like swim to Northern Ireland for his bag, right? Yeah. But Bryson, it's like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff there, and it's just it's a difficult situation. I'm fascinated to see. Like, would you quit all this and take his bag?
I mean, I'm certainly not qualified to take his bag, but this feels like what would happen, right? You take this bag until you don't have to take the bag anymore, right? Until you've made enough, whatever you determine enough is, because there's nobody, like it or not, who puts in more hours than Bryson DeChambeau. There is nobody who is doing quirky, more innovative things, at least trying things, than Bryson DeChambeau. If you're his caddy, you're involved in all of that. So it's almost a means to an end where you take that bag because it's an unbelievable opportunity, but you have this goal or this finish line in sight, which kind of feels like we crossed the finish line for Tim Tucker.
Well, and so one of two things is going to happen, right? He's going to get another good caddy who's a veteran, and the same thing will happen again, or he's going to hire one of the TikTokers out of his house. Right? I mean, seriously. And that person's going to be on the bag, and he's going to say, I'll just do all the math myself. And maybe that's, I don't know. We've seen more guys go toward the, hey, I'm going to hire somebody I trust, that I've known for a long time, who's a friend,
good presence.
And they kind of grow into the role.
Yeah.
And maybe that could happen, but I don't know. We probably make too big of a deal out of it because it's Bryson, but it's also maybe the most unique caddy situation in the entire sport.
Oh yeah, for sure. It is easily the most unique bag. You know, there was a take here from Chantel McCabe, who said she spoke to Tim Tucker at length last week, and he was starting a luxury shuttle to and from Bandon Dunes, which is where he used to caddy. And he said his whole reason on why he started caddying was to try to make enough money to put his daughter through college and save up to retire. So he's bought these two cool buses. It seems like that's now what he's got on his mind, which sounds kind of awesome. Sounds a lot less stressful than being on Bryson's bag every week somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. There's a lot of things that are a lot less stressful than being on Sprite. How about this? If you were, let's say, Max Homa's caddy.
Ooh, wow.
And Max is a good player, top 50.
Very likable, probably very easy to work with.
And I think they have a unique situation. Like they've been friends, and you know. Like I'm not saying that Max Homa's caddy is going to go to Bryson, but if you are a player like Max Homa in that area of the world rankings, and Bryson came to you and said, "Will you caddy for me?" What would you do?
Yeah, I think you have to do it. So it's this. Okay, so I try not to make too many corporate America comparisons in the world of golf, but it's getting a big promotion. It's getting a big promotion that will only help your next job too. So if the Bryson thing doesn't last forever, but now you have that on your resume, assuming you don't do anything crazy that the world of golf looks at you and says, "Oh my God, what did this guy do? Punch somebody in the stands or something like that?" It's a really good. I don't want to call it a stepping stone because you can make a lot of money on it, but it also just takes you to another echelon of your profession. And I think that's the point, right? Like if I don't have some personal tie to my guy and this opportunity opens up, I think a lot of people would take it, just like you would take a promotion to a lot of other places if the situation was right.
I think you're not wrong. I think it's easy for me to say this because the decision's not in front of me, but I think I would want to not do it.
What's the downside?
That every week would be miserable.
And you do it for a year?
Yeah, but then like every week with Max would be fun. Not fun. I mean, it's a job, but it would be like a comfortable, good, like,
Max is a good example. Max is a good example because he's a top 40 player, multiple time winner, and seemingly one of like the not easiest, but like best guys to be around. So that's a great example because it makes the decision hard.
It does. It really does. And yeah, I don't know. The other thing that somebody in our group thread or in our text thread was saying is everybody is like, what about Bones? Like the NFL or NBA coach that's like, well, what about this guy for like 10 straight years and they never take a full-time job? I can't think of an example of it was John Gruden for a while. Yeah. What about John Gruden for like 10 straight years?
Urban Meyer for a while too, until he finally took that job.
I feel like everybody's going to do that with Bones for every big bag that's available for the next like 5 to 10 years. And I don't know. Bones has made plenty. I think Bones is doing all right. I think he likes his job right now.
Yeah. So we'll obviously keep an eye on this. I'll be interested to see how, I mean, this is a very important stretch of golf, and we'll see. I don't know who exactly it is on the bag today here on Thursday, or if it's going to be somebody else on Friday or Saturday, just because this might've been a quick decision to be made, but this is a very important stretch of golf and we're gonna have to see how this shakes out.
Do you think he goes with, well, this is an interesting question in the comments. Mikey Coos, Mikey Coos.
It's gotta be Coos.
How much of a role do caddies play? And I think that's
a good question.
Yeah, it's that I don't know. I never know how to answer this because it's not like, despite what Bryson tells you, it's not rocket science. But it's also it's hard. It's a multifaceted job that people don't appreciate because you're a psychologist, you're a mathematician, you're a agronomist, you're like wearing all these hats, and you could get fired in any moment based on not even anything that you did. It's just it's a weird life, and it's very hard. And I think that, I think the biggest job for guys like that are on top 10 bags is are you drawing the most out of your player based on how comfortable and just based on how comfortable they are in different situations. Do you know when to push them? Do you know when to hold back? Like all that stuff.
I am literally watching Bryson run around and get his own numbers right now, looking for sprinkler heads, because he's offline, as he tends to be often, and trying to get numbers for places where there aren't sprinkler heads. And I feel like with Bryson, you have to be the Swiss Army knife of all of the information available, right? When he wants to know what's the wind direction, what's the wind speed, you got to have that information. When you need to know what the distance is and the lie and the slope, and you just have to have all this information. You present it to him, you let him calculate. It's not an easy job. It's very difficult.
Do you think last thing on Bryson, we'll get to I want to talk about Davis Thompson, but
yeah.
Do you think he goes with a friend or a like somebody he trusts or a former caddy or not a former, but like a professional caddy?
He will. So the way I envision this is he will eventually get a veteran caddy or someone who is out there on the tour, but it's going to be a process. I think it's going to be like this interview thing. And I think in the meantime, he is going to do friends and he's going to downplay this. So wait for this post-round interview today and tomorrow. It is going to be, oh yeah, I'm used to calculating all this stuff myself. It's no problem. I'll just go out there, do it. I can get my own numbers. I don't need, it's going to be that. It's going to be that for a while until he finds somebody or someone finds him that is willing to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's probably right. I could, yeah. Who knows? It's interesting. And we haven't even talked about the Koepka part of it.
Yeah. So Brooks Koepka, of course, missing no opportunity to respond. Within, I don't know, an hour of the news, tweets out, quote, "Couldn't do it without my guy, Rick." Not me, actually. "Best friend and greatest caddy to do it at Ricky Elliott. Appreciation Day." A photo of those two. Just an opportunity to say, hey, you and your caddy might be having problems, but me and my caddy are best friends.
It's so petty.
I'm kind of over it.
Petty, just the petty. Remember the NBA petty wars? Like the I can't remember. Was it Damian Lillard or I don't know. There was Damian Lillard and KD, I think. Yeah. There was a bunch of different like little just nonsense stuff. And this is petty wars. I actually I think this is kind of fun. It's not like some of the other stuff felt a little mean-spirited. This is more like that's funny. Like I'm okay with that.
It is definitely smart and witty and funny. I just think it's a hair difficult when one side has done the last 5 things. If this was back and forth and Bryson was responding and then this and that, like it used to be, now it's just like we're getting it from one corner, and I'm not as excited about it.
I think that like the play for Brooks is go in the Open. And next time you get asked about Bryson, be like, who? The guy with one major, right? Like that's your path forward if you're Brooks, not to like keep jabbing at this guy that he's just not in your world. He's just not. And maybe he will be someday, but right now he's not. And he keeps jabbing at him. And I guess it's fun. It's kind of funny sometimes, but I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with all that.
Yeah, certainly cannot argue with that. All right, we've tried to give this a hair more time here to let this leaderboard develop. And Davis Thompson at the moment atop the leaderboard, 2 shots clear in opening round 63. That's 9 under. That was, of course, bogey free. And KP, this is a name that we've seen a couple of times. We're gonna start seeing more often, highly touted out of the University of Georgia, starting now to play more on the PGA Tour and in these events where we're getting more exposure to him. Absolutely phenomenal round here in the opening round of the Rocket Mortgage.
Yeah. So I'm looking for this tweet from. Did you see this thing last week with Brad Fritsch? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
Maybe producer Jacob can find it. Brad Fritsch put out a tweet talking about how I think he was about, how some of the college guys got sponsor exemptions into the Travelers.
Yes.
Like Eckroad and I think John Pack did as well.
Yeah, because Pox it only has a status on Korn Ferry right now. So if he's playing in a PGA Tour event, it's because he's getting a sponsor's exemption, I believe.
Right. So they got in, and I think it was Brad Fritsch. I apologize if it wasn't, but I think he tweeted out something about how, this is unfair. This, like we should be protecting the guys that have been on tour for a long time and all this different stuff. And it's like, okay, I hear you. I understand where you're coming from, but I think the PGA Tour has done like, they've done a good job of giving more opportunities to stars that are coming out of college. Like imagine if, and we've probably talked about this before, imagine if like the top 5 guys that were going into the NBA draft got drafted and they're like, sorry, unless you do this really complicated difficult thing over the first 3 months of your professional career, you're going to have to play the first year in the G League.
Right.
We'd be like, why can't I see Cade Cunningham? Like, why is Cade Cunningham not on my TV? And so to give guy like, and it's just I get it. Golf's a meritocracy, but there has to be a better path. And we definitely have talked about this. There has to be a better path for the Matthew Wolffs, Matthew Wolff, Victor Hovland were like top 20 guys in the world while they're in college. And they got to like get lucky and win an event just to play on the tour. That is crazy. And so it's a good, like what the PGA Tour is doing to get, and I don't know how Davis Thompson even got this start, but this is a jumping off point for me to talk about how what they're doing by getting these college guys and these guys that are honestly like the future stars of their league more starts is a good thing. And I'm glad to see Davis Thompson take advantage because he's really, really good.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Your sports organization should be growing the next crop of stars, marketing them, putting them in featured groups on your television, learning them, because that's how this works. You want this to be sustainable for a really long time, and especially in a year where we still have not graduated those Korn Ferry guys from last year, in a year where Will Zalatoris will not be in your FedEx Cup playoffs despite being a top 12 player if he had enough, or if he had the status. I mean, it's crazy. And we've talked about this, how hard it is to lose your card. So I like it when these guys come up, they make some noise. I hope Davis Thompson goes on and does something special, whether he can try to sprint for the special temporary membership status, although we're kind of running out of weeks for that. But yeah, like go do it. Go do something. I like this. Yeah,
I think it's great. And how many starts has he had anywhere as a pro? Because he played the U.S. Open as an AM. Obviously, I think he co-led after round one, or maybe he was in second or third, something like that. But do you have his professional starts in front of you?
I believe he has 2. So RSM Classic in 2020 would have been as an amateur, because he didn't graduate until 2020. It would have been May of 2021. So that would have been as an amateur. So I have him as the Palmetto Championship, and the Travelers are his 2 professional starts.
Okay. So so third start.
4 other times as an amateur.
I can't find this tweet that I was looking for. I feel bad.
I couldn't find it either. I might not have been Brad Fritsch, if that's because I was looking for it too. Or I don't know. Would he have deleted it?
I don't think so. I'm lost.
Here's some good news. Here's someone who is not lost. Matthew Wolff went out and shot a 67, highlighted by an eagle on number 17. He did make bogey on his final hole of the day, the par 3 9th, but 5 under. This was one of the bigger question marks coming into this week, KP, because we saw one really good start at the U.S. Open, one really bad start. I guess that was at Travelers, and we didn't know what to expect. Played well today.
Yeah, he did. And this is why I mentioned him on Tuesday, right? Because the talent is just silly. And I like the volatility. I like that you don't really know what's going to happen, because you're getting him at a number. What was he before the tournament? Like 40, I think. 40 to 1.
That feels right.
And his talent level should not be 40 to 1. The thing, like, it's everything else that's kind of artificially inflating his number. And maybe everything else is going to keep him from winning, but the talent is immense. And it's great to see him play well at a place. And he was, of the guys in the top 10 right now, he was the only negative putter, which is crazy.
Yeah, this is going to change. At this moment, gained 3.08 on approach. As we talk, that is 5th best in this field. Great sign. Gained 1 stroke off the tee. That's the blueprint. That's a really good blueprint for him.
But by the way, I tweeted this out, but I saw a graphic of Phil Mickelson. He shot 69 on Thursday, and Golf Channel had this, and they said this is Phil Mickelson's I don't know what it was, 70th round, first round of shooting 3 under. And like, this is not a commentary on Golf Channel. Like, they pulled that stat. It's good. Like, they did a great job with the research. It just lacks context, right? Like, I wish that we could get to a point where we're talking about strokes gained against the field, because that's the real context of like what you did in any round or any tournament. Like, was it, if it was a
yeah,
you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know what the par was. We don't know what everybody else did. We don't know, like, was the scoring average 80 and you were 14 better than, or whatever, you know,
right,
better than
opening with a 3-under round at the US Open is infinitely better than opening with a 3-under round at the Rocket Mortgage Classic, which is going to play about 2 strokes under par anyway. He's going to gain about 1 shot on the field on Thursday.
Yeah, he was like field average. So the stat is like, it shows me something, but it's essentially meaningless. And I guess my question is, like, do you ever think that golf gets to the point, and I feel like baseball has gotten there a little bit more with like the OPS plus and all this different stuff. Do you think golf gets to a point where strokes gained and some of these advanced and that's not even really an advanced stat, but some of the like deeper stuff is more mainstream over time?
Yes, because I would have, if you asked me 15 years ago, I would have said baseball will never be able to figure this out. They'll never be able to show it. They'll never be able to educate their older fans. I mean, the 2 oldest fan bases, I'm almost positive, are golf and baseball. And the fact that major MLB Network is constantly going into the advanced metrics, they're showing it on every single broadcast all over the place. You're seeing exit velocity. What is going to happen is you are going to get essentially the baseball exit velocity, launch angle, all that stuff on at least every tee shot on the PGA Tour. And it's going to pop up on screen and we're going to say, oh my God, Bryson just hit, 208 miles an hour or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm much more optimistic because baseball was able to pull it off. So if they can, golf has to be able to.
I think that's a good take. I mean, I was at my parents' house in October. It was right after, I think, the Zozo. I think it was when Cantlay won. Or maybe it was when Kokrak won at Shadow Creek. Was it at Shadow Creek that
Which, by the way, Shadow Creek raised their price to $1,000 a round. Did you see that?
Yeah, normal sport. But my parents were like, "What is strokes gain?" And my parents watch a lot of golf. My mom played golf in college. Like, she was a good amateur player, but they were like, "What? I don't understand strokes gain." And I'm like, man, if they're they're pretty locked into the golf world. It's just, I think it's such a tiny sliver of people that, first of all, care. But I wish there was like some like on-ramp, because it contextualizes everything so well. And it makes it, I think, more it makes everything you're watching more interesting. So I don't know. I'm hopeful for it. And I think what you said is a good take.
And we're going to get to the odds here in a second, but they'll follow the baseball. Now what I think is a really good stat in baseball and the way it goes to golf is when they start to compare stadiums. He's got 25 home runs, but he's got these 3 fly balls that would have been out at the majority of parks or something like that. It's similar. Golf and baseball are similar in that the venue is changing all the time. And I think that's important because there are a lot of sports where that doesn't happen, right? Basketball, football, soccer, the dimensions of the fields never, ever change. So I really do think golf has to take a page out of the book of what baseball's doing, which is a crazy sentence I never thought I'd say.
I got that. I found the Brad Fritsch tweet, by the way.
Okay.
Can I read it to you? Okay. Yeah. So he was responding to, so Nick Hardy responded to him. I don't know what the original was, but Nick Hardy said, actually, let me find it. Okay. So Fritsch said, morning tee time's done. I'm up to first alternate now. I'm hoping for an amazing life event to occur. So player has to leave. 'Twas not to be. If only the mildly insulting to the membership PGA Tour University program didn't exist. ...
Oh boy.
And Nick Hardy responded and said, those kids have come out and kicked ass. Nothing insulting about that. The best college players are absolutely deserving of Korn Ferry opportunities. So this wasn't even about PGA Tour opportunities. This was Korn Ferry Tour opportunities. I don't know which Corn Ferry tournament it was. And Fritsch said, Nick, this is a response to Nick Hardy. It's not about their skill level. I have no doubt there are tons of college players who are good enough. It's about servicing the membership, to which I and so many others have paid dues, figuratively and literally. These are gifts for no reason. Now, technically, and you can see the tweet on YouTube, technically he's right. Mm-hmm. But it comes down to, what do you believe the PGA Tour or Corn Ferry Tour's job is? And man, if I'm looking at the NBA and NFL, is it about servicing our members, or is it about like, hey, let's introduce fans to the top talent? Like if you're the NFL, you would never be like, you know what, this veteran has to stay in the NFL this year, and this third pick in the NFL draft, he has to play in the minor leagues.
Here's the problem. Brad Fritsch is looking at this by saying, what is the membership doing for me? When if he really thought that, if he really cared that the membership was being protected and serviced, you would want these kids. You want these kids to be a part of the membership. You want the membership to be strong. You want the membership to prosper so that the membership can make money and have opportunities and grow the game for everybody. Just because you're not a part of it or on the fringe of it doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do. It's a very subjective. It's not an objective take. Yeah. And you know, like, I get it. Like, you're in the position that you're in, and he's speaking just very much from this kind of myopic point of view and not taking the whole thing into account. So anyway, I wanted to get that out there because I didn't want to, didn't want it to feel like I just made up a tweet. I'm glad we found that tweet.
Yeah.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at these odds. They are ever changing because there's a lot going on the golf course right now, but we will take a look. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. Very interesting leaderboard, KP. I don't know how we're going to break this down. Joaquin Niemann, believe it or not, is the favorite over at William Hill. He was just 8.5 to 1. It changed 1 second ago. He is 9 to 1. To put that into perspective, he is 4 under through 10. So he's got 8 holes to play. He's 4 under, which is currently 5 shots off of the lead in the clubhouse, which is Davis Thompson, who is 14 to 1. And then Matthew Wolff is 16 to 1. He is only 4 shots back. So this is going to be very, very fluid for the rest of the evening.
How do books just have a system that spits out like what the leaderboard says at any given point?
Believe it or not, yes, but it's not as good as you'd think it would be, right? I mean, it is.
Okay.
They're certainly considering how good Matthew Wolff, Joaquin Niemann are, the fact that he has holes left, but they are also like, they must have a list of names that are like, whatever his real odds are, Bryson DeChambeau, whatever his real odds are, cut him in half. You know, if he's really 40 to 1, we're going to offer it at 20 just because we're not getting burned here. Yeah.
And that's why you see like, you see some huge names on here, right? You see Neiman and Thompson at the top, but then it goes Wolff, Jason Day, Bryson, Patrick Reed, and Kevin Kisner. And I think that's the effect of the round still going on and saying like, I don't know, like just leave it at this. And then we'll kind of reshuffle it at the end of the round.
Yeah. So if you're looking at the guys that are actually done, Brandon Hagee, who is 7 under, 2 shots back, is 40 to 1. Tom Lewis, also 7 under, he's 25 to 1. So I'm not sure. I mean, Wolff at 16 to 1 is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
If he's gonna be that guy.
What is what's Reed at? He's 2 20. Under.
Oh, what's the score?
Sorry. So Bryson's not in the top 100, and he's the 5th favorite.
Right.
He's T102 right now, which I get it.
That's so bad.
I think Patrick Reed at 20, he just played the front 9 and 2 under, or he started on the front 9. Just played it in 2 under, and his odds went from 14 to 1 to 20 to 1. Now 2 under is, you probably gained a stroke on the field. But I think on this list I would go Patty Reed.
Reed's not bad. Wolff has my attention because he's done. He's in the clubhouse. He gets to rest. He's 4 back. That lead's probably not getting touched this afternoon. Not bad. This is changing every second. Joaquin Niemann's now 10-1.
You think, yeah. You think Davis Thompson can win this tournament?
No, probably not.
Yeah, it would be, it's a tough ask. Your third start, wire to wire.
Yeah. I guess he doesn't have to go wire to wire, but yeah, it's a really tough ask.
I think he could like be in it though. Like he's really, I don't know what Data Golf has him at is like, because they do a good job of kind of integrating. So Data Golf has him as the 206th best player in the world, and his OWGR is like way outside the top, whatever, 500 or 1,000. I don't know what his OWGR is, but Data Golf does it by what's your true strokes gain and not like how many points have you accumulated. So they can take college events and sort of apply those metrics, and it's not perfect, but they can apply those metrics on, like, they can normalize them to PGA Tour and European Tour events. So I think him
they give him an 8% chance to win this.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Joaquin Niemann 7.7%, and he's the favorite, 4 under through 10. So it makes sense. I would love to see him win it, because I would love to have one of these guys snatch up a card, and we know how good he is, and he had a great college career. It's obviously just unlikely, but it would be very cool.
Siwoo is up there as well. He shot up 67. It's not even a Pete Dye course, and he's
what's he doing?
Feeling it. Yeah.
Shaking that ass, shaking that ass, shaking that ass.
There you go. Jacob made up for the missing the playoffs one earlier. That was good.
That's great. Perfect way to end it.
All right, KP. Obviously, there will be first cut round by round recaps for the rest of the week, and we will keep a very, very close eye on the bag of one Bryson DeChambeau. But for now, let me thank producer Jacob, does all the hard work behind the scenes. That right there, that's Kyle Porter. You can find him on Twitter at Kyle Porter CBS, and you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been the first cut, and we'll catch you next time.